First contact, first blood. The first sign of war came as a whisper in the void. A deep space observatory near Neptune detected an anomaly, an object moving too fast, too precise. At first, the United Earth Defense Council, UEDC, thought it was an asteroid. Then, the object adjusted course. 3 days later, the Dominion warship Viarun entered the Sol system. It was not alone. Humanity had always speculated about extraterrestrial life, but when it finally arrived, it did so without ceremony or diplomacy. The Viarun broadcasted only one message on every frequency. This system is now claimed by the Dominion. Surrender immediately. The UEDC responded in the only way humanity knew how, with defiance. First contact. The Viarun encountered the UES Aegis, Earth's first and only prototype warship with experimental railgun weaponry. The Dominion had no reason to fear it. After all, every species they had encountered before fell to the same method, psychic subjugation. The Dominion's elite, the Mindcasters, could crush entire fleets without firing a shot. They sent a single telepathic wave toward the Aegis, expecting immediate surrender. But the humans kept fighting. Captain Elias Drake felt the pressure in his skull, like a cold claw reaching for his mind. For a brief moment, doubt flickered in his thoughts. Surrender, submit, obey. Then just as quickly it shattered. His mind was not an open channel like the other species. It was a storm of chaotic, conflicting thoughts, shifting emotions, and sheer, stubborn willpower. The Mindcasters recoiled in shock. The humans were immune. First blood. Fire everything, Drake ordered. The Aegis roared to life, unleashing a barrage of hypervelocity railgun rounds. Dominion shields, designed to withstand energy weapons, shattered under the sheer kinetic force. The Viarun returned fire with plasma lances, but humans didn't fight fair. Drake's crew had already anticipated the counterattack. They burned their engines, maneuvering unpredictably, exploiting every weakness. The Viarun never stood a chance. Within minutes, Earth's first battle in an interstellar war ended in victory. But it was a hollow one. The Dominion's last transmission was clear. The humans are different. The humans do not break. Prepare the Armada. A war begins. Across the Dominion, high-ranking warlords debated their next move. No species had ever resisted psychic domination before. No species had ever killed a Dominion warship in first contact. The response was swift. Within days, a fleet of 50 Dominion warships was dispatched toward Sol. Not to negotiate, not to conquer, to exterminate. On Earth, as humanity celebrated its unexpected victory, Captain Drake stood aboard the Aegis and stared at the stars. He knew the truth. First contact wasn't over. It had only just begun. The unyielding mind. The Dominion did not wait long to retaliate. For days after the destruction of the Viarun, the sky burned. 50 warships emerged from hyperspace, dark monoliths against the void. They spread into formation, their weapons humming with charged plasma. Earth's defenses, untested against such a force, scrambled into position. The United Earth Defense Council, UEDC, knew this was no ordinary invasion. This was extermination. The psychic onslaught. The Dominion had never needed overwhelming firepower before. Their strategy had always been simple. Deploy the Mindcasters, break the enemy's will, and force surrender before a battle even began. The Armada moved into orbit, and the attack began. Not with lasers or plasma, but with a silent wave of raw telepathic force. On board the Dominion command ship Razil, High Mindcaster Valchuan extended his will. The sheer mental force that had crushed 100 species was now directed at humanity. He reached into the minds of Earth's leaders, its soldiers, its people. Then, something unexpected happened. Nothing. Where Valchuan expected obedience, he found resistance. Where he expected fear, he found rage. The human minds were unlike anything he had ever encountered. Chaotic, turbulent, full of fragmented thoughts, conflicting emotions, and an almost instinctual refusal to yield. He pushed harder, and humanity pushed back. The Mindcasters, for the first time in Dominion history, felt something they had never known. Recoil, the unbreakable line. On the front lines, Earth's pilots and soldiers should have been overwhelmed. But instead of submission, they fought harder. The Dominion warlords had no contingency for a species that thrived under pressure. Fear tactics failed. Psychological warfare collapsed. The humans didn't break, they became more dangerous. Captain Elias Drake, aboard the Aegis, wasted no time. Concentrate fire on their lead battleship, he ordered. Railguns thundered. Nuclear-tipped, missiles roared through the void. Dominion shielding, designed for energy weapons, faltered against sheer kinetic devastation. One of their warships, a vessel 10 times the size of the Aegis, cracked apart and exploded. Earth's ground defenses retaliated. Spaceports repurposed for orbital bombardment fired at incoming troop carriers. Fighter squadrons engaged Dominion drones in furious dogfights. Cities prepared for last stands, not in fear, but in defiance. The Dominion fleet, despite their technological superiority, faltered. The retreat. On board the Razil, Valchuan's confidence had turned to horror. The humans were not supposed to be like this. They should have collapsed, just like every other species before them. But instead, their minds resisted his every attempt to break them. Worse, he could feel something rising in their thoughts. A single, unified force of will. Rage. A Dominion battleship detonated. Another fled. Valchuan gave the order no mindcaster had ever spoken before. Fall back. The Dominion fleet withdrew. For the first time in recorded history, an invading force of the Dominion had been repelled. And in the silence that followed, a single message was broadcast from Earth, reaching every Dominion world. We are humanity. We do not kneel. The war had changed. And now, the Dominion was afraid. The turning tide. The Dominion had ruled the galaxy for over 1,000 years. No species had ever repelled them. No species had ever made them retreat. Until now, the aftermath. Earth's victory had come at a cost. Cities bore the scars of orbital bombardments. The UEDC fleet had lost 4 ships in the battle. But in the wreckage, humanity saw not defeat, only proof. Proof that they could win. On the Dominion capital world of Varesh, High Warlord Sci-Fi watched the battle reports in cold silence. The Dominion Council bickered around him. Some argued to wipe Earth from existence with planetary annihilation weapons. Others warned of further humiliation. Sci-Fi made his decision. They have rejected submission. We will show them extinction. Within a cycle, the Dominion had mobilized a second armada, 200 warships, to end humanity before they could grow stronger. But by the time they arrived, Earth was no longer waiting. Humanity was already on the offensive. The first human counterattack. The Dominion's greatest advantage, psychic warfare, was now useless. Their second greatest advantage, technology, was fading fast. Human engineers had reverse-engineered, captured Dominion weapons, modifying them for their own ships. Plasma cannons, once foreign, now roared from human warships. Their rail guns, already powerful, had been upgraded with alien superconductors. Dominion ships relied on predictability, formation tactics, and superior numbers. Humans thrived on chaos. The UEDC fleet didn't meet the Dominion head-on. Instead, they launched coordinated guerrilla strikes on supply lines, ambushed Dominion convoys, and jammed their communications. They struck fast, hit hard, and disappeared before the Dominion could retaliate. What was once a simple extermination mission turned into a war of attrition the Dominion had never fought before. And they were losing. The fracturing empire. News of the humans spread like wildfire. Across the Dominion, whispers turned into rumors. For the first time in history, an empire that had seemed invincible was faltering, and the oppressed species of the galaxy took notice. For centuries, the Dominion had ruled through fear. Their vast empire was held together not by loyalty, but by subjugation. Now, with their most feared weapon, mind control, rendered useless against humans, cracks began to form. Small rebellions flared up in the outer colonies. Some Dominion-controlled worlds refused to send reinforcements to the war. Others sent secret transmissions to Earth. A single message, from a species long thought to be broken, reached the UEDC High Command. If you wish to end the war, meet us at the Dead Star. A new war begins. Captain Drake, standing aboard the Aegis, read the message. He turned to his crew. The Dominion is afraid of us, he said. But fear alone won't win this war. He looked back at the stars. We need allies. Set course for the Dead Star. As the fleet prepared for departure, one truth was clear. Humanity was no longer fighting for survival. They were fighting for victory. The unbreakable line. The Dead Star was a lifeless husk, a remnant of a forgotten war long before the Dominion's rise. It had no light, no warmth, just silence. But in that silence, hope had taken root. The Rebel Alliance. Captain Elias Drake stepped onto the surface of an abandoned outpost, flanked by UEDC Marines. Across from him stood representatives of 6 alien species, once proud civilizations, now reduced to Dominion slaves. Their leaders were cautious, their eyes filled with the weight of centuries of oppression. The oldest among them, a withered but defiant being named Varthun, spoke first. We have waited for a species that could break their grip, he said. We thought none would come. Then you arrived. Drake met his gaze. We're here to finish what they started. The rebels revealed the Dominion's greatest weakness. Its entire empire relied on the telepathic supremacy of the Mindcasters. Without them, their fleets were just metal. Their armies just flesh. The Dominion fears you, Captain, Varthun said. Now, let's make the rest of the galaxy fear you too. The final battle. The Dominion, desperate to crush the rebellion before it spread, assembled its largest fleet yet. 500 warships gathered in the Varesh system, the heart of their empire. If humanity and their new allies could destroy this fleet, the Dominion would fall forever. The battle began with the Dominion deploying every weapon they had. Plasma fire burned through the void. Energy torpedoes streaked toward human ships. But Earth's fleet had evolved. Human warships, equipped with Dominion tech, struck with terrifying precision. Fleets moved unpredictably, using every unconventional strategy possible. While Dominion commanders relied on rigid tactics, humans improvised, turning weaknesses into strengths, turning chaos into victory. The rebels, inspired by humanity's defiance, fought harder than ever before. Then, the Dominion made its last desperate move. The last stand. High Warlord Zypher, enraged by their failures, commanded his Mindcasters to unleash a final, full-power psychic assault on every human mind in the system. A silent scream rippled through the void, meant to shatter willpower, to break every pilot, every soldier, every leader. But the humans only grew angrier. The attack rebounded. Human minds, already immune, became the storm. The Mindcasters, unprepared for resistance, felt something they had never known. Pain. Across the Dominion fleet, psychic officers collapsed, screaming. Without their control, their forces fell into chaos. Drake saw the moment and seized it. All ships fire. The Dominion flagship exploded. One by one, their warships fell. The unbreakable empire, built on fear, was burning. The aftermath. With their fleet destroyed, the Dominion surrendered. Their empire fractured. Once enslaved worlds rose up, throwing off their chains. As Captain Drake stood among the liberated, he heard the cheers of billions across the stars. The war was over. Humanity had not just survived. They had won.